In this video, you're going to learn how to make motivational quote videos just like this one.
If there's one thing that helped me turn chaos into order during tough times, it's establishing a routine. Every morning, no matter how I felt, I stuck to my schedule. This small act of discipline gradually improved.
And there are people making these videos and they're getting millions of views on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and they're getting more than just views. They're also making a little bit of money as well. And so I'm going to be teaching you to do the same thing. And I'm not going to bullshit you. There's two things that you need to understand. First of all, yes, this is going to take a little bit of work. It's not hard. It just requires a little bit of discipline because you've got to do the same thing over and over again. But don't worry, with the tools that I'm going to show you, it makes this process as easy as possible. Just don't expect your first video to blow up and get you thousands of followers and millions of views. And you don't even want your first video to blow up anyway, because if it does, people are going to visit your account, see that there's no other content, and they're not going to stick around and subscribe to see the next because they don't know what's coming. Unless your video is really just that good. But that's the second thing I want to talk about. The most important thing for success on social media nowadays with this type of content is the quality of the content itself. It's not some secret, it's not a hack, it's not a special technique. If you scroll through the feed, you'll see that it's the top content, the highest quality content that stands out, and that's getting millions of views. And that's why in this video, I'm going to show you where to get the voiceovers, the good ones with the nice deep voices. I'm going to be showing you where to get the nice cinematic B-roll, how to get good subtitles, get the right background music, make it all work together and make it look like an aesthetic motivational video. And with that being said, let's begin. Now to begin, you've actually got two options. First of all, you can make content entirely from scratch, which I'm going to be covering, or you can use clips from interviews to make them more aesthetic and digestible for social media, which I'm also basically going to be covering with everything that I show you in this video. And the first thing I want to talk about is the script, because if you're starting from scratch, you need a script, and this is where a lot of people get lazy. And I'm not saying they're lazy because they use ChatGPT, because we're also going to be using ChatGPT, but do it correctly. Don't just prompt once and copy and paste. This is how you get a good script. So in ChatGPT, what I'm going to do is type out, give me 10 topics that I could speak about in a motivational way related to discipline, motivation, and tough times. And then I hit prompt. And now this prompt is great because first of all, you can modify it. You could change the number here, or you can change the specific topics that you want to talk about while still being in a motivational context. So you could go ahead and add any word you want in right here. And then it gives us 10 different topics. But because I asked it to give them to me in the context of talking in a motivational way, they all suit the motivational content and motivational niche very, very well. So once I've got these 10 topics, what I now need to do, if I like all of them, is go to the next prompt. And this is where you save loads of time and get some really good scripts. For each one of those topics, give me a short script that is anywhere between 30 to 60 seconds long to read. And here you can actually change this timing. It's kind of up to you. If you want to go above the 60-second threshold, for example, on TikTok, if you want to monetize content, it's got to be more than 60 seconds. I recommend doing that. And then the second half is that it's from the point of view from someone sharing advice on that topic after having been through a struggle related to that topic. So essentially, this makes it feel like it's more from a storytelling angle, and it's also speaking from experience. And so if I hit enter right now, ChatGPT is going to spit back 10 scripts for each one of the previous topics, all told in the angle of a story about one specific idea. And so now, as you can see, ChatGPT is spitting out 10 different scripts. But again, we don't want to copy and paste because it's all in the quality. And just by giving a quick glance, I can see that some of them are pretty good, but others still need that human touch. And I think you're always going to have to do a little bit of human touch on your scripts because AI can only get you so far unless you go crazy into prompting, but then at that point you might as well just write them because we're all about efficiency here, okay? The first one here, as you can see, I've got hello everyone. I would take something like that out. Here, as you can see, we've got many see discipline as a set of restrictions, but I learned that it's actually a pathway to freedom. This sounds a lot better and it sounds like a motivational quote. And so some of these don't need that much editing and some of them do. But just to show you, I've copied the first one and I'm pasting it into here and I'm gonna make some changes. I'm gonna get rid of the hello everyone. So if there's one thing that helped me turn chaos into order during tough times, it's establishing a routine. Every morning, no matter how I felt, I stuck to my schedule. This small act of discipline gradually improved my mood and productivity. Your routine can be your anchor, keeping you grounded when life tries to uproot you. So here I don't like this part, so I change this, bring you down. And then at the end, start simple, stay consistent, and watch how it transforms your life. That sounds a bit too cheesy. Here instead of grounded, I'm gonna do on track as well. So keeping you on track when life tries to bring you down, when life knocks you down, start simple, stay consistent, and stick to a routine. Sounds a little bit more human. So I've got this, right? Now we've got the script, we're gonna move to the voiceovers. And this is where a lot of people make the mistake here, because voiceovers are super, super important. And yes, we're gonna be using AI voiceovers. A lot of the tools I'm gonna be using are AI because it helps save us a lot of time. If you do have time and you've got the great voice, do by all means just bring in your mic and record it. But we don't here. In this scenario, we don't. But here's how to get a really good, deep voice. And I just want to say that, by the way, links to everything I mentioned in this video are going to be in the description down below. And so the tool, most people have heard of it, is 11 Labs. And the mistake a lot of people make is they'll just go onto 11 Labs, they'll paste their text, and they'll go and choose one of the default voices, and then they click generate. But that is not how you get a good voiceover. What you want to actually do is you want to go to create voice. And so you do need a paid account for this. And then you want to go to voice library. And here you've got a bunch of different voices you can choose from. And you want to be able to find one that sounds like a motivational one. So for example, maybe Julian, this one here, if we sample it.
If you really think you're alone at night.
So that one sounds good, sounds okay.
Let me know in the comments.
That sounds bad, right? For a motivational voice, it's not what we want. But actually, if I just go back to my generation, here you can see that I've already saved some professional voices from the voice library that sound like motivational ones. So one of my favorite is actually Carter, the Mountain King. So I select this one. And now again, I don't want to click generate just yet. What I want to do is actually make a small change. So I'm going to put the full text in quotes, and then I'm going to type out, he said, inspirationally. And because 11 Labs reads text just like it would from a book, it takes in the full context of your prompt. And so if you put something like he said inspirationally, or he said quietly, or he said loudly, or he said angrily, it will take that into context when generating the voiceover. So now if I click generate.
If there's one thing that helped me turn chaos into order during tough times, it's establishing a routine.
That sounds like a pretty good voice for a voiceover about discipline or routine or anything motivational related, right? And so all I want to go and do is download that. And now once you've got your voiceover, the next thing we're going to do is actually edit it all together. And to do this, we're going to be using an online video editor called Veed. And if you're actually using clips from a podcast or a video that you've grabbed online, you can also do the same thing and follow the steps along from here as well. And if you do want to find out how to actually get the podcast clips for you to edit them, I'll share a quick video tutorial in my Discord, but it's very simple if you just Google it, you know what I mean? So now I'm in Veed, I just want to click create project, and I'm just going to quickly go to my downloads, and I'm just going to drag and drop what I just got from 11 Labs. And the very first thing I'm going to need to do is actually cut off the end, because
He said inspirationally.
we don't want that end part of the prompt which gave context to 11 Labs. And now if you've imported your podcast clip, you're just going to want to go ahead and cut out the section you want. But it's very simple. I can just hit S on my keyboard, or you hit split when placing the timeline, and then I just delete that. So now I've got just my voiceover. And now the very first thing I want to do, because I'm actually making this for Instagram Reels, I'm going to go to settings, and we're just going to change this to the Instagram Reel size. So it's like this. I'm just going to cut off, 11 Labs gave me a little funky thing at the beginning, just cut that off. So now I've got just my voiceover, and it lasts 28 seconds, 29 seconds. But the very first thing I want to do is actually find footage and B-roll for this video, because I don't have any. And there's a few options here. But the reason I use Veed is because if I click on media and then go down to stock videos, we've actually got a full built-in library of millions of videos that I can pull straight into my video. Because if I was using Premiere Pro to do this, I would have to then download them, import them into the project, search online again, download them. Whereas here I can just pull them straight into my video without downloading them to the computer. And so the trick here is to actually search the words that you kind of hear in your script, or search visuals that are relevant to your video. But to make it look good and to make it look aesthetic, so let's say here we're talking about productivity and discipline, we might consider videos about working out or fitness. So I would type in workout, and then we get a lot of different videos. But what I want to do is make sure they are cinematic, because that's how we get it to look good. So I type in cinematic workout, and then we can see if we can get some clips that work quite nicely for us. And so this one works quite nicely. And what I'm going to do for now is I'm just going to find a few different ones and just add them to the project.
A few seconds later.
As you can see, I've pulled in a few different ones right here. And what I'm going to do now is just kind of trim and adjust them so they all kind of fit and they're in order or in sequence within my video. And I'm going to speed this up a bit because it would be quite boring. But essentially, you just rearrange them like you would in any timeline. You can trim by trimming the edges. You could either split them and then delete a section. You can drag them around, rearrange them above each other, but I'll let you do that how you please, and I'll see you guys in just a second. And I do want to mention, by the way, you can actually rearrange and position them on the canvas as well. Okay, and so now I've actually done the B-roll, and so I've tried to choose some nice cinematic clips that suit the aesthetic of my video and that are related to like discipline and motivation. But what we could also do is actually go back to ChatGPT and we could ask it for some images that fit the script. So as you can see, I've just said, give me some images that represent some of the things from the first script. And now it's creating the images. And you could do this with ChatGPT, or you could do it with Midjourney. If you've got a pro account with Midjourney, Midjourney V6 gives you some really good high quality photorealistic images. But I'm not actually super happy with that image, so I could be super specific. But essentially what you could do is you could then download that image and then you could animate it in your video with Veed. And so here, as you can see, this one could work, all right? So if I just download it, and then I just want to slide it into Veed. And so now I've got this image, and as you can see,
If there's one thing that helped me turn chaos into order during tough times, it's establishing a routine.
so at the time I say routine, I could bring this image in and I could place it. I might not necessarily want it to take up the whole thing, but I could place it about there and I could just click on animation and I can actually make it appear in any kind of way I want. But for this video, for the purpose of this one, I'm not going to do it. What I do want to do though is actually change the style of my B-roll so there is a certain aesthetic. So if I click on the video, what I want to do is then click on adjust, and I want to actually bring the saturation down. Not entirely, but at something like minus, I'm going to go minus, let's just do minus 60. And what this does is it actually neutralizes the colors a little bit, and I'm going to do that on all of the clips. Minus 60, minus 60, minus 60. Again, if I move this along, we'll go minus 60, neutralizes the colors a little bit, but not too much. And that's because a lot of these videos actually have this kind of aesthetic already. And this helps create this certain like mood and vibe. And then the next thing I want to do is click on filters, effects, and we go to filmic, and it applies this kind of like subtle grainy overlay. Again, a little bit of a vibe, but I want to bring this down just a little bit, and then I right click and I do apply to all. So now all of my videos have got this similar kind of effect applied to it.
Gradually keeping you on track when...
So now we've done the style on the B-roll, and again, this is kind of up to you. I suggest adding kind of as much as you can and taking your time to find like the right clips that fit your video. The next thing I want to do is subtitles, because all videos have subtitles. So if I click on subtitles, and then I click auto subtitle, here I just want to make sure I've got the voiceover selected. If you uploaded your podcast clips, make sure it's the podcast clip. And then I want to select the language that's being spoken in the video, and I just do English. You can choose automatic highlighting, and that will essentially like highlight some words every now and then, or enable speaker detection. If there's like multiple people speaking, you could actually have the subtitles in different colors depending on who's talking. But then I just click create subtitles. Now V takes anywhere between a few seconds to a few minutes to automatically generate subtitles for my video. Because it's quite short, it should be done pretty quickly. And so as you can see, it's just done. I now have subtitles. And so if I press play,
There's one thing that helped me turn chaos into order during tough times.
and so as you can see, we've got subtitles. Now, the very first thing I recommend doing is actually moving them up a little bit so they're not like too close to the bottom where you'd have your description, either that's on TikTok, Instagram, or even YouTube Shorts. You've always got the description at the bottom, and they're not too close to the sides. So the first thing we're going to do is go to styles, and then here what I can do is customize everything. There's presets to choose from, but I'm actually going to make these just a little bit smaller to begin with, and then I want to actually change the font, and this depends on the kind of aesthetic you're going for. I might try Albert Sans because I think it's quite simple,
If there's one thing that helped me turn chaos into order during tough times,
but it still looks quite nice. And now you notice there's a nice little animation on mine. And again, I like simple animations because that's the aesthetic I'm going for. But I could even just switch them off, have no animations, or you can go ahead and like change them. And so the one I had on is scaling, but again, there's a bunch of different ones to choose from. But if I go back, what you do want to do is you want to add a little bit of drop shadow. And this actually just helps your text be more visible and easier to read over the video. So I'm going to leave it as is, just like so. And again, I think the simpler for this kind of content, the better it looks. If you've got something too crazy and too animated, it doesn't quite match the tone of what's being said in the video. And now the next thing is the music. The music is the thing that brings it all together, but you can't just use any music. If you want, you can go to Veed's stock library. And again, here you've actually got a full stock library of music, stock music, and you could search for something like ambient soundscape to get like the nice tone. But this is what I recommend doing. Oh, and actually real quick, before I do that, if I just go back to my subtitles, I do want to mention that you can edit this text and actually like to remove the punctuation very quickly because again, I feel like it just makes it a little bit cleaner and it just looks nicer. So that's like super quick. I've just removed all commas and periods just like that. So that's one thing that makes it look nice. But back to music. So instead of using the stock library music that you can straight in Veed, while that's useful, I recommend going the extra mile and doing the following. So when scrolling through Instagram or TikTok, we often hear the same music or the same sound that really helps nail the vibe of the video we're trying to go for. And so what I recommend doing is saving a bunch of those and then downloading them from Instagram. And I'm actually gonna leave a list to a bunch of different audios and sounds that I think are great. I might even download them for you guys and I'll share them in my Discord. So if you're going to find me in the Discord, you'll be able to find those files. But this is how it works. So if I just go to my saved audio on Instagram, we've got this one right here, which I think is really nice. So what I would do is I would just copy this audio and then I'm just going to Google Instagram audio download. And I just go to this one and we just paste it in here and then I click download and then I just click download audio, okay? And then I go back to my project and I can actually just drag this in. And as you can see, we've now got this audio at the bottom of my video in the timeline. And what I'm going to do is I know this audio, so I'm going to cut it to about here, drag it across, and then I'm just going to trim off the rest, delete that, make it fit so it's the same length as the video. And so now if I play it back, listen to how good this sounds and look how good this is basically.
If there's one thing that helped me turn chaos into order during tough times, it's establishing a routine. Every morning, no matter how I felt, I stuck to my schedule.
See, I think this sound really helps the video come together and match the motivational quote aesthetic. And again, I'm going to put links to a bunch of different Instagram audios in my Discord. But once you've done that, what I actually suggest doing is if you edit it to the audio, is deleting it from the project, okay? And you're going to understand why in a second. When we click done and we export, right, we want to make sure that burn subtitles is toggled on, so the subtitles are in the video. But you then click export on your motivational video, and then when you transfer it to your phone, whether you airdrop it or do it over Google Drive, at the time of uploading it, and this is if you're posting it manually, go and find that same audio on Instagram, and again, I'm going to share the links to them, and then add it in Instagram. That way, when you upload your reel, it will get referenced alongside the audio, and you'll have a lot more chance of getting reach, okay? Because if you download it within the video and upload it, it will create a new audio that no one else is using already. So that's kind of up to you. But from a growth perspective, I think it's always better to add the audio later on. But it's nice to have it when you're editing just so you can see what it sounds like. And that is how to make motivational quote videos for Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. Now, I hope this was really helpful. If you have some questions, please drop them in the comment section down below. Come and join the Discord, let's chat, share the motivational videos you're making. I'll drop a like on a few of them if you share the links to them on Instagram. Subscribe to this video, hit the like button. And again, just massive thanks for watching. Peace out, see you in the next one.